I mean, we thought the good news coming was going to be the ETF. We knew this was in the background. I always had a decent probability that this was going to happen, but it dropped like a bomb today, and XRP's up 75% in a day. But what it does is it shows that the regulators are overreaching. Now, we don't have that around elsewhere in the world because most of the regulators elsewhere have been reasonably decent about crypto, but the US was the one that weren't. Gensler was really attacking the space. So what that's done is unleashed so many of the larger alt tokens that launched in similar ways to XRP that should not be deemed as security, and that's going to make the space more investable. At the margin, it allows others to enter into the space. We saw XRP get relisted by Coinbase immediately. Okay, that's a big statement. It means that institutions will be more comfortable around it. That allows more people into the space. So people who might have been nervous of Solana or some of the others may look at this now and say, look, the probability of those being called a security is now becoming much smaller by the day, and therefore the risk profile of owning these things is much lower.
Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Raoul gives us an update on his current macro thesis and his perspective on current global market conditions, also his prediction for Bitcoin and crypto, and where he thinks the market will go in the next months. So without further ado, let's get started with the video.
So my personal opinion, and look, I know nothing, is that Gary Gensler was under a lot of fire politically because of saying no to everything. And he had said the Bitcoin was not a security. So therefore it becomes really difficult not to allow or to appease the politicians by saying, look, I've passed the bloody Bitcoin ETF. At least I've done something. I'm comfortable with Bitcoin. So my guess is he gave the nod to BlackRock and said, listen, I need to do something. We're going to do this. And they've obviously have an open conversation with the SEC. The SEC had given the guidance as we will accept this if you do this. So they all did it. What was really amazing within that, bit of humble pie, that the SEC is suing Coinbase while at the same time are going to approve them as a major part of the mechanism of the ETF. And it kind of shows the incongruity of this ridiculous situation they found themselves in. Then you add the XRP ruling, and it makes it really hard for them to stop some of this stuff. So, I think Gensler probably comes under more political pressure because of what's just happened as well. It kind of fuels the politicians, the pro-crypto politicians were like, this is not sustainable, and Gensler's opinion appears to be wrong. So the overreach argument. So overall, these are really good things for the space. Now, the Bitcoin ETF, I've always said the ETF doesn't matter unless the market has momentum. If it has momentum, it becomes a sucking sound of bringing in RIAs in the United States and individual investors and pension plans and others. And lo and behold, we're in the middle of crypto spring where things are starting to really warm up. And that sound of FOMO you hear in the distance is thundering closer and closer. And that's going to bring these people in. So if we continue the way we've been going and prices are rising and let's say Bitcoin's at 40,000 by the time the ETF comes in, there's going to be a blind panic because everybody kind of knows that it's very cyclical as an asset, and that when the cycle goes, it can have tremendous returns. So I think that's going to be at the back of many people's minds who are out of the market right now. And with the Bitcoin ETF, they're going to be more enticed by it. So look, it is very positive. And that capital flow that comes into the space, let's say $10 billion comes in the ETF, whatever, that money then flows into the space. People take profit in their original Bitcoin and gets reinvested into ETH or Solana or whatever else. And then before you know it, recycles into NFTs, because all of these digital assets is a kind of global economy, a separate global economy made up of smaller economies like ETH and Bitcoin. And once you have new foreign direct investment into an economy, things boom. And that's what's going to happen.
The husband and wife alleged to have laundered billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin connected to the 2016 Bitfinex hack have reached a plea agreement with authorities in the United States. According to records filed with the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia on July 21, Aaliyah Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan are scheduled to appear for an arraignment and hearing on August 3 as part of a plea agreement with prosecutors. The pair had been charged with money laundering conspiracy and conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and they are expected to forfeit digital assets connected to the case. Following the hack of crypto exchange Bitfinex in August 2016, in which roughly 119,754 Bitcoin was stolen, Liechtenstein and Morgan allegedly laundered more than 94,643 BTC of the funds in a series of small, complex transactions across multiple accounts and platforms. Authorities arrested the two in New York in February 2022 and seized the BTC, worth roughly $54 million at the time of the hack, but $3.6 billion. At the time of Liechtenstein's and Morgan's arrests, laundered Bitcoin represented the largest financial seizure by the U.S. Department of Justice. Individuals have periodically moved small amounts of BTC connected to the hack, but only a small amount has been returned to Bitfinex from authorities in an effort to restore victims' funds. On the other hand, the restructuring team in charge of the bankrupt FTX has sued former executives from the crypto exchange and its sister trading firm Alameda Research to recover over $1 billion in allegedly misappropriated funds. In a July 20 court filing, former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison, former FTX engineering director Nishad Singh, and FTX co-founders Sam Bankman-Fried and Zixio Gary Wang were named as defendants. The former executives issued more than $725 million worth of equity to themselves, and Bankman-Fried and Wang used $546 million in alleged misappropriated funds to purchase a stake in Robinhood, FTX claimed. The alleged fraudulent transfers happened when FTX was insolvent, which the group was aware of the complaint assets. Bankman-Fried allegedly directed a modification to the exchange's code to allow Alameda's account to carry a negative balance.
I'm not much of a trader, so I take a long-term strategic position. My view for a long time is while I like Bitcoin, I'm more predisposed towards the broader ecosystem itself, because I think the whole of Web3 and crypto is a much larger thing than just a store of value money component, which is an important part of that in itself. And so therefore, I've tended to have ETH as my larger bet, and I've had that for a long time, because my thesis is these things are all valued on Metcalfe's law, which is network effects, and that's the number of people who use it and then the number of applications really that go on. Now, ETH's equation within that is there's actually more users, the amount of activity is higher because of all the applications, but the sizes of the transactions are smaller. But because so much is being built on top, the network effects grow over time. So over time, I expect it to outperform. But in each bull market, there's another something that does really well. And my eye is on Solana because it's got a large ecosystem, a lot of developer activity, a lot of application layer tools. Now, does that work or not? I don't really know, but I think it's a reasonable probability bet that it's like kind of ETH was in 2018-19, came from the dust down 97% and survived. You know, the Lindy effect of surviving a massive bear market, you know, with all the FTX stuff is a good thing. Could it be another ecosystem that takes fire? Of course, and many will. So it's just a very interesting time. One of the things that I try and focus people's mind on as they get a bit lost in day-to-day price action is $65 billion of venture capital money went into this space in 2020 and 2021. The products that were built are going to be coming out in this bull market. Mm-hmm. So if you remember the last bull market, it's like DeFi, NFTs, social tokens. What's it going to be this time around? We don't know, but there's going to be a lot of stuff because a lot of money went into some really smart teams who were building all sorts of applications and ecosystem.
So what's your price prediction for Bitcoin at the end of 2023? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.